Good day, great of learners. Welcome to today's business studies lesson. My name is Tiriso Tlaga. Today we look into now your business venture as a main topic, and this will be assessed in your paper 2, and the subtopic we look into is management and leadership, and we're looking into typical exam questions for your management and leadership learning outcomes. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to discuss or evaluate the impact of leadership styles and identify the leadership style from a given scenario or statement, then also identify the leadership theories from a given scenario or statement. Then explain the role of personal attitude in successful leadership. In our previous lesson, we looked into the following when it comes to typical exam questions. We looked into identifying the leadership styles. We also looked into discussing the impact of the leadership styles after they were quoted, and also we discussed how the exam questions can be structured and the styles and the limitations that are there during the exam and mistakes that you can make. And then we also identify leadership theories from a statement and suggested or recommended situations in which each leadership style can be applied. Then we have now a baseline, which is more of your section A questions. We have a multiple choice question. Who is the leader that gives a task without informing employees on how to complete it? This leadership style is it known as charismatic? Is it known as laissez-faire? Is it known as transactional? Or is it known as freedom? So remember, a leader that gives a task without informing employees on how to do it, basically they are doing what we call laissez-faire. So the answer should be laissez-faire, and you get 2 marks for that. Then, as we proceed now, we look into the terminology that is important. The term leader is important because a leader is an individual that is able to influence or motivate others. And then laissez-faire refers to allowing to do. So if you allow someone to do something on your behalf, then you are basically liaising fair with them. And then theory is a set of principles on which a practice of an activity is based on. So we'll be looking into a set of principles on which leadership should be based on. And then now we have a scenario. Read the scenario below and answer questions that follow. We have Mountain Hotel. Sihle, the owner of Mountain Hotel, applies the democratic leadership style in managing his employees. He has a positive attitude and knows that there's always more to learn. Sihle models the behavior that he wants to see in his employees. Now, when we are looking into the question that comes there, that should be a low order because we see the verb quote. When they say quote 2 roles of personal attitude and successful leadership displayed by Sihle in the scenario above, those roles are the idea that he has a positive attitude and knows that there's always more to learn. Another one is that Sihle models the behavior that he wants to see in his followers. So that is your first 2 that you are supposed to quote. And then 1.1.2 says discuss now other roles of personal attitude in successful behavior. So that means when the question says other, it means you cannot use the idea that he has a positive attitude and always wants to learn. And you cannot use the idea that he wants to Sihle is the one that models the behavior that he wants to see in his followers. You can use any other sentence, but not that one. And then advise Sihle on the impact of democratic leadership style on Mountain Hotel as a business. Now, and then differentiate between democratic leadership style and autocratic leadership style. Let's see the solutions. You quote as it is from the scenario. So that is how you would quote. He has a positive attitude and knows there's more to learn. And then Sihle models the behavior that he wants to see in the followers, and then that's 2 marks for that. Then, as we proceed, discuss other roles of personal attitude in successful leadership. 1, the idea that positive attitude releases leadership potential. That's correct. Then another one is that a leader's good or bad attitude influence the success or failure of the business. And then leaders must know that their strengths and weaknesses to apply leadership styles effectively. Then there are 6 already. And then great leaders should understand that the right attitude will set the right atmosphere in their organization. Leaders' attitude may influence employees' thoughts or behavior. And then another one, successful leaders should consider abilities and skills of team members so that they allocate tasks according to their role or effectiveness. And then they should show enthusiasm to produce confidence as a leader. And then another one is that a positive attitude is critical for good leadership, because good leaders will stay with the task regardless of the difficulties or challenges. So I'm marking everything to show that everything is correct here. And then successful employees or leaders have a constant desire to work and achieve now their personal or professional success. So that is how you get your 6. And then during the exam, we'll consider the rest to be maximum, because already you have obtained 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we proceed to look into now the idea of the impact of democratic leadership style. We know that democratic leaders allow employees to contribute ideas before a decision can be taken. So the leader allows employees to participate in decision making. Yes, so they will feel empowered. So the employees would feel empowered. Staff gives a variety of ideas, input, feedback, or viewpoints that can lead to innovation, improved production methods, or increased sales. Then another one is authorities delegated, which can motivate or inspire workers to be more productive. And then another one is that complex decisions can be made with input from experts or skilled workers. And then when we look into negatives now, remember with the question that says impact, you can provide positives only, and you can also provide negatives only, or you can mix both positives and negatives. So with a democratic leadership style, incorrect decisions can be made if staff is inexperienced or not fully informed, and then decision making can be time consuming, and anything that wastes time is a negative for a business, because stakeholders have to be consulted. And then another one is that employees may feel discouraged if opinions or inputs are not considered. So that is how you would obtain your 8 marks for that. So that's how you get 8. Remember, you're allowed to provide positives and or negatives. And then when you are looking into the difference between democratic and democratic, we are talking about the idea that the democratic leaders involve employees, whereas autocratic leaders take all decisions alone without involving employees in the decision making. So that is the first difference. 2 marks, 2 marks. And then when we are looking into democratic, clear or two-way communication ensures group commitment to the final decision, while lines of command or communication is clear, as it is top down or followers know exactly what to do. So here basically management would tell employees what to do, and they have to listen to the instruction. And then when you're looking into democratic, it is people orientated, as employees now employees' feelings and opinions are considered, while autocratic on the other side is task orientated, as opinions and employees are opinions of the employees are not considered. And then workers feel now empowered as they are involved in the decision making process. That is a good aspect. And then new employees feel confident again, as the strong leadership is provided with an autocratic leader. And then what democratic is useful when the leader depends on the input of the experienced, but when we are looking into situations where we can use autocratic, it is useful in a crisis or in an urgent situation, after an accident, for instance, or when trying to meet a tight deadline. And then when you're looking into democratic, it handles conflict situation by involving followers to find the best solution, whereas autocratic handles conflict situations by making sure that followers should know, should understand what they should do after, or telling them what to do after. Then when we're looking into another question, we have to read the scenario and answer questions that follow. We have Fancy Clothing. Patrick is the manager of Fancy Clothing. He rewards his employees for producing high quality products and punishes them if targets are not met. That is now focused on the leadership style. Identify the leadership style used by Patrick and motivate your answer by quoting from the scenario. And then discuss the impact of the leadership style identified and advise management of Fancy Clothing on the situations in which the leadership style identified in 1.2.1 can be applied. So everything now lies with how you identify the leadership style, because if it goes wrong, it means you will discuss an impact for a wrong leadership style. You will be advising on the situation that is also incorrect. So identifying becomes critical. Remember, if we are talking about the leadership styles, we have 5. So you should be able to know that since I have 5 leadership styles, what are the keywords for each leadership style? This leadership style now should be transactional, because transactional is a leadership style whereby the leader would use a system of reward and punishment to motivate their followers. So as you can see, Patrick rewards his employees for producing high quality products and punishes them if they fail to meet the set targets. Now, the solution for that should be, as I said, transactional. If you wrote that 2 marks, and when you answer now, we say when you code this 1 for motivation, then you get 3. And then as we proceed now to another question that says the impact now of the leadership style, that when we are looking into rewards and punishment, it encourages employees to work hard because they will receive rewards. Another one is that it improves employees' productivity and morale because they want the reward, and rewards might differ. And then another one is that the goals and objectives of the business can be achieved as workers are motivated, and then employees know what are expected from them. And then another one is that disciplinary action procedures are well communicated when maybe one has to be punished. So when we are looking into discussing the impact, remember we are allowed to provide positives and or negatives, and you can provide the mix of both, or you can provide positives only or negatives only. And then employees may become bored or lose creativity as they have to follow rules and procedures so that they obtain the rewards. And then a transactional leader will have to monitor the work performed of employees to ensure that the expectations are met. So that now is time consuming, and managing and controlling employees might be time consuming. So when you're looking into that, that's how you would be marked. The splitting of marks, because of the verb, marks have to split, but if the question was outline or advice, 2 ticks would appear at the end. Now, let's proceed to situations now, because the verb says advise. When can you use now this leadership style? When the business wants to maximize the employees' performance, that's 2 for that. Then as we proceed, when deadlines have to be met on short notice or the business is under pressure, you use transactional to motivate employees to meet the deadline in a short notice. And then when employees' morale is too low, you also apply your transactional leadership style. And then when the strategies or business structures do not have to change, you use that as well. When productivity levels are very low and not according to targets, you can also apply that. So remember here, this is considered to be maximum because you shall have received your 8 marks already. Then we look into another question. Now we have Bohlale, who allows a situation to dictate the leadership style to be used. Let's see questions that follow now. 2.1.1, identify or name the leadership theory Bohlale is applying. And then 2.1.2, discuss the leadership theory identified in question 2.1.1. So basically this time we have one statement, and then that statement has questions to answer. So name the leadership theory that Bohlale is applying, because Bohlale allows the situation to dictate the leadership style to be used. And then discuss now the transformational theory. Then when we are looking into that, Bohlale, which leadership style is being applied, leadership theory that is being applied there. Remember, we have 3 leadership theories to focus on: situational, transformational, and leaders and followers. So this is a situational theory because now Bohlale dictates before Bohlale decides on the leadership style, they look into the situation. They look into their employees to say, okay, I have employees who are not fully trained. Can I use democratic? No, because they'll give incorrect ideas. So let me use rather autocratic because it suits the learners, the workers' situation at that time. Then 2.1.1, now discussing different leadership styles are needed for different situations. That is according to situational, and then the task or situation dictates the leadership style that should be applied. But remember, when they're saying discuss now, you cannot use this point. This is a repetition because it was on the statement. And then effective application of this theory may enable leaders to achieve all their goals. And then there's 2 ticks as well for that. And then relationship between leaders will be able to be the best. And then as we proceed again, leaders have the ability to analyze the situation. The another one, leaders should analyze the group and objectives, time constraints to adapt to the suitability and relevance of the leadership style. It may lead to conflict when leaders use different leadership styles or when managing employees. The success of this theory depends on the kind of relationship that exists. So that is how you would get your 8 marks, and the relationship that exists between your leaders and followers. Then transformational, now discussing transformational, is suitable for a dynamic environment where change could be drastic. Strategic thinking, leaders develop a long-term vision for the organization and sell it to the subordinates or employees. And then leaders need to have the trust, respect, and admiration of their followers or subordinates. And then it promotes intellectual stimulation or creative thinking and problem solving, which results in growth, development, or success of the business. And then followers are coached, led, mentored, and emotionally supported through the transformation of change that can share the ideas freely, so that they share the ideas freely. And then it encourages followers to explore or try new things or opportunities. So that is your transformational, and it would be 2 ticks at the end. Remember, or the splitting of marks there because the verb is discuss. So splitting of marks because the verb is discuss. And then yes, this is not yes. Then leaders lead by example and make workers to become interested. And that's how you get your 6 marks. And as we proceed again, leaders have strong, charismatic personalities, and they are very good at motivating staff to achieve great results. Then summary of our lesson, we looked into discussing the following. We discussed the impact of the leadership style. We also looked into identifying the leadership styles from its scenario statement and identifying theories which are given. Remember, we have 5 leadership styles. We have 3 leadership theories, and then we have now sentences to be understood by the role of the personal attitude in successful leadership. So that is our lesson. Hoping it made sense. Remember to wear your mask, sanitize, and keep your social distancing. Keep well. Goodbye.